Good morning, everybody. We are halfway through the week. Halfway through. Sue said, Love the opening. I'm trying to put some Christmas jams in here. This show isn't a jingle bells type of show, if you know what I mean. So try to find something to fit the mood. Plus, be festive. Hello, Dolores. Hello, True Crime with Shannon. Hello, Mel O. Kamari made it in. Casey K. My friend Galix in here. Angie Gibson made it in. Big T for the win. Sharon, yes, it's hump day. December 14th. We are basically halfway through the month. So you know what that means. It's almost 2023. In a blink, this year has gone by and we have been busy. I've been getting a show together to recap our year. If you can believe that. I was like, God, it's gone fast. But you have to admit, guys, we've been busy. We've had a lot of stuff going on this year. I mean, a lot. Nana Banana just said hi to Apple. You don't see that in every chat. Check that out. Banana said hi to Apple. Hello, JPL. JPL's in the house. JPL on the scene. Hello, Mama K. Muscles and Mascara is driving. Speaking of muscles and mascara, tomorrow we have a very important show. Every show is important. Don't get me wrong. Let me back the truck up. We have a show tomorrow for Summer Wells. Tomorrow will be 18 months since Summer went missing. As you know, Muscles and Mascara lives in that area. I have it for 9 a.m. If I need to move it out, it'll still be tomorrow so that she can join the panel. Then I'll let you know. But just as long as your reminder is set and you're subbed up, you shouldn't have a problem missing it. And yes, it is exactly right, Mama K. It is heartbreaking. Techni Girl, where you been, girlfriend? Plus, I saw Hillbilly Tech was in here. I don't know where Hillbilly's been. I miss you guys when you're not around. I do. I truly do. I received a lot of your messages overnight and yesterday. And so as opposed to answering them each individually, I just saved it for this show to let you know that the tornadoes that touched down in Oklahoma were not near me. They were not near me. They were south of me. Holly said no notification on Discord. What do you mean? What do you mean, Holly? We put a reminder in whatever room it pertains to for the show, but I don't know. Everybody has individual settings for Discord. Like they may not want the at everyone notification, so they have that turned off. Or they only have notifications, say, for the Michael Vaughn room. They only want to know when someone's in there talking about that. So I don't know. But as far as being reminded about the show, Susan, that's just me. She puts reminders in Discord and the Facebook groups every day, like clockwork. Wendy Slater, what happened to Cherry Piss? That name made me laugh. Either Cherry Piss changed her name or is very, very angry with me for saying her name, as she said, 72 times in a fucking row on the show. So she might be just taking a break right now because she was not happy with me. I answered her question. I answered the comment. You know, I mean, I'm sorry I said her name like she said 72 times in a row, but that's her name. It doesn't bother me when someone says my name. I don't find my name to be offensive to my own ears. For some reason, she was offended that I said her name so many times. It's her name. I didn't pick it. Was anybody in here offended that I said her name so many times and answered her question? She picked the name, not me. She said, it's not like it's my government name. Well, what's your government name? I'll go back and I will revisit the comment and I'll use your government name, i.e. Cherry Piss, over and over. We'll cover her. We'll cover it again. What am I supposed to do? You know, you try to help someone out. You just can't please everybody, guys. You just can't please everybody. Here, I'm trying to do a public service to Cherry Piss by answering her question about public safety when she's in Louisiana and the killer's in Idaho. You know, I thought I covered it very thoroughly. That's what I was trying to do. I'm here to help. I'm here to help. But, you know, I wonder if she even got my answer. Because I thought I covered it as thoroughly as possible. She wasn't happy with it. She wasn't happy with it. So, tornadoes, I'm good on this end. Didn't have to go to the post office yesterday, so I'm good there. And as far as this case, I'm not good. I'm not good. This case bothers me to no end. Not that I don't think that the police are on it, because they are. It's just so damn grim. And what has been done to the family is awful. As you know, as we started talking about the Michael Vaughn case. Oh, hang on. Okie Bree, I got tornadoes at my house. Are you around Oklahoma City? Because I heard that there was a F2, which in Oklahoma terms is called that ain't much. But anyway, that there was an F2 in Wayne, Oklahoma. Let me know where you're at, because they missed me. They missed me. But yes, Monkey's case is horrific. It's saddening. It's the unthinkable. It's the parents' worst fear. Now, when I started covering the case, I didn't know about it for a while. So you can't blame me for not covering it, because if I don't know, I don't know. I have the same internet as you guys. So what comes in my news feed is what I know about. So by the time it made its rounds to me, I started going through it, and I already saw that a lot of people were on Brandy and Tyler. To me, them being involved made no sense. Brandy was at work, and to me, Tyler just didn't have time. He just didn't have time. You know how I am in these cases. I don't care about rewards. I don't care about polygraphs, and I'm all about the time. Time's important, regardless if you're talking about a crime or not. You get stuff down to the minute, as they say. Gnat's ass. That's me. No way, shape, or form did I think he had the time. When we were talking about little Athena a couple of weeks ago, we were already talking, people were already talking about the stepmother. I think I was talking to Ware Summer, or I might have been talking to Kamari. I don't remember who. And I said, I don't think the stepmother did it because of the time. I don't think she had the time. Well, she didn't. It's just, to me, I don't know. I don't know these people. I'm just saying the time doesn't make sense to me. As we know, it was the FedEx man, and now FedEx is public enemy number one to a lot of people, but we'll save that for another show. So in this case, when I started covering it a year ago, basically, it had already been said by the chief that this is an abduction, and as every day goes on, it becomes increasingly more clear that it is an abduction. That's what they said. That's really all I needed to hear, because the time didn't make sense, and it seemed to me that that's where the investigation was going, and I went from there. Well, some people just weren't having it, and they were still on Brandy and Tyler. Some people have not given up on that. Believe it or not, there's a few. They may not say that they have anything to do with the predicament that we're in, but they still have to get their sly comments in. This is why you never take your eyes off your children. Well, you know, door alarms would have helped in this situation. I've heard that quite a bit. I mean, they could have had round-the-clock bodyguards, and they would still find a way to make Tyler especially responsible for this? It's crazy. Some of these people defend Billy Joe Howell, though. I can't figure it out. Now, unfortunately, Michael is not the only child to ever be kidnapped. There are other children that have been abducted out of their homes. Polly Klaas, Elizabeth Smart, J.C. Dugard was running to the bus stop, running to the school bus. Sean Hornbeck was on a bicycle. Ben Owensby, I don't remember exactly how he was kidnapped, but it was in plain sight type thing. And I've just always wondered, not that I want anyone to start trolling Mark Klaas, but I just wonder why all the hate for Tyler and Brandy, but you have all of these other people that their children were abducted and you call them strong, brave, heroes. Look at their wonderful foundation and how they've taken the most horrific thing a family can go through and they've turned it into something positive. But these two are not going to get cut off the cross. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe somebody can help me out. Cherry Piss isn't in here, so we can't depend on Cherry Piss. So I got you guys. Why do you think these other people are hailed as heroes when they and Lana, you're right. Yeah, Mark Klaas did get it for quite a while. He obviously has gotten past that. I never understood any hate towards him when he wasn't even there. He wasn't even home. He's not even married to Polly's mom. But it is very unfair to them. But they know they're in good hands here, right? They know that even if people, throughout the course of time change their mind, they know that we're fair with them here and that we want the end result. We want monkey found. We want monkey found. We want the people that are responsible for this to pay. To pay. We want them to pay for this. Hook, line, and sinker. I mean, we want their asses pinned down. Can I get an amen? We want them to pay. I think about what the sheriff in Wise County was saying when they found out that the driver abducted Athena. And he said, we don't take it lightly when you hurt one of our children. I don't live in Fruitland, Idaho, but I can just imagine how the people there are feeling, knowing that a child is innocently enough just playing outside and they're abducted. They're not taking kindly to it there. No, they're not. No, they not. All right, I'm going to go through some comments from the last show. I'm going to do a small recap from the press conference. I know some of you were saying, darn, I missed it. I'm only going to show the part where they talk about the Wondras and how they want to talk to Adrian and Brandon. So we're going to go through that. Then we're going to get up to speed. And the link is pinned. Don't be shy. Come on up. Robin said, Chief Huff has aged in this investigation. The weight of it has to pay its toll on all those investigating. I see it too. Still a very handsome man, don't get me wrong. But the toll this has taken on him. I had other comments under her comment that said if Chief Huff was over the investigation in Moscow, Idaho, they wouldn't be having the problems they're having there. It's just an opinion, and I brought it up because I wanted to see what you guys think, because we're all team Chief Huff here. I had to get a drink of my Diet Dr. Pepper. My throat is already getting dry. Thought it was really an interesting comment because he has been just impeccable through the whole thing. Now, there was a lot of rumors that he was covering up for Brandy and Tyler. He plays poker with Tyler. He went to high school with Tyler. Well, he's like 11 years older than Tyler. He's having an affair with Brandy. That's the reason nothing's getting done. None of those things are true, were true, never were true. The man is passionate about his job and passionate about this case. I think he was very telling in the 1-year press conference that he did back in July for Little Monkey. Here is just a clip. This is where he's talking about person or persons of interest.
You can say about persons of interest in this case. How many persons of interest? You know, I'm not going to really get into too deep on the persons of interest, but I will tell you there are multiple. Okay.
Are there any people that you interviewed or servants that have been non-cooperative?
Yeah, there have been.
That always really bothered me. I had to watch it several times where he said, I'm not going to get into persons of interest, is what he said. And they said, is there anybody not, I see you, Lana. Hello, beautiful. They said, is there anybody not cooperative? He took a pause, almost like he wasn't going to answer that question. I wouldn't have been surprised if he hadn't have answered that question. And I wouldn't have blamed him for not answering the question. And when he stopped and he took pause and he said, yeah, there have been. I spoke to Brandy a few days after that press conference, and she said she did a kind of looked over and she did a double take, and she was like, really? Someone's not cooperating? She didn't even know. She didn't know. She was as surprised as everybody else, honestly. Let's bring Lana up before I get to the other comments and catch up with her. Good morning, Lana. Where's your avatar?
You know, I thought I fixed this yesterday, and I think there's a problem when I'm on my iPad, clearly.
It must be an iPad problem. Don't tell me that Steve Jobs knew everything.
Right? Smartest man around, supposedly.
Yeah.
I mean, can we all agree that Chief Huff is the best looking chief in Idaho? I mean, I don't know about you, Brooks, but he is just so cute. I could watch him talk all the time.
Well, then this will be an easy show to do. I'll just play past press conferences and take a nap.
That's right. We'll just watch Chief Huff. It's kind of funny to me because it's very widely known around Fruitland that he does not like to speak on camera. He considers himself, classifies and defines himself as someone who, you know, doesn't like the camera. But I think he's such a good speaker. It's great because those people that you're talking about that have all these stories and opinions on the family, a few of them have also said that I'm responsible for writing Chief Huff's speeches for the press conferences. So I was like, wow, that's an amazing compliment. Thank you.
No, he is a very, very good speaker. Now, Christina, she's more into the plainclothes FBI agent in Moscow
and
with
cowboy hats. Yeah.
Yes. We have a saying for Christina in Discord: save an agent, ride a cowboy.
That's funny.
That's don't back off, ladies. Cowboy
back in the day when I had a thing for drummers, you know, because I apparently like to have people couch surf and live off of me. No offense to drummers, my best friend was one, but I had a shirt that said, save a drum, bang a drummer.
Oh, damn. And you had a drummer on the couch. Go figure.
Yeah.
Drummers always seem to get the shortest cut of the tip the band money, if you know what I mean.
They do, but they also seem to get the largest following of the, what do they call those? The groupies.
True. Wow, we are way off topic. Okay, so my next
Okay.
comment, because I was about to start talking about Def Leppard. I totally forgot where I'm at. All right, so Harley Rain said, interesting that the people whose photos he shown were all supposedly riding around all day together when he went missing. Yeah, they were. I'm going to show a snippet of the press conference. These four were all together. Now, I'm also going to get to a news clip in a second. I'm speeding ahead, where they say they have made contact with Brandon and Adrian, but they haven't arrested them. I don't know what's going on there, because just being
Correct.
around Stacy and Sarah that day doesn't exactly make you guilty, might make you culpable. I think something's going to be coming down the pike pretty soon. As far as who moved Monkey, I don't know, but
Mm-mm.
I'm telling you, my heart was up in my throat when I heard Chief Huff say they believe he was moved.
Yeah.
That's why I say
I
this case is very, very hard to talk about. It's always been hard to cover, whether it be the trolls that wouldn't let you have a live chat or just the heinous nature.
and you've done so good with covering Monkey's case. Thank you, Brooke. I mean, I just it is hard. It's been difficult since the beginning, like you were mentioning a minute ago. Some of Chief Huff's first press conferences, as we're about to get into this one, in the beginning mentioned, we believe this is high probability of an abduction. And, from that moment, you've always talked about possibilities and scenarios with respect and without trashing victims and families. And, you've really held Michael in the highest regard and helped keep his face out there. And I, for one, am appreciative of it. And so is the family. Brandy just loves you.
Well, we just love her, and of course can't take anything away from you, Lana, because you have been in the trenches.
Yeah, I think I just moved into the arena with them pretty much, and was like, there came a point where, I don't know if you want to just call it a calling or what it was, but I felt the need to step up beyond, sharing posters and moderating the Facebook group, which is, all I was doing at the time. And they needed more help, and I wasn't the only one. I just happened to be the one most public facing, I think. So, yeah. But thank you.
Well, it's like I was talking yesterday, the show about also in your state, quadruple murder in Idaho. And I said, it's like anytime I bring up Steve, I feel like Tina Turner and Thunderdome. You're Tina Turner and Thunderdome as far as Monkey, because you've had to take it on the chin in many regards.
And that's okay, because, every time I have a conversation with Brandy about any of that stuff that was directed toward myself personally, the first thing out of her mouth is apologizing to me, and I'm like, no, whoa, wait, like I would rather take it on the chin, than it come toward them, because they got so much, and they're the ones whose child is missing. They're the ones whose child was abducted, whose child is out there with predators, and we were we are trying to find, and so I always saw it kind of like, no, like, I don't care, let them hit me as much as they want, because I'm not afraid of bullies. I never have been, and I don't back down from them. And I would rather be part of the team linking arms and providing peace and space for the family than them be the ones directly attacked, because, as Wolfcat is saying and others in chat, we need Monkey found, and that is still our priority. Monkey is still out there. We don't know what's happened. Like you said, Chief Huff believes he may have been buried and moved. They believe they have evidence of that. We've not
He
been
says,
given.
yeah, he says they have every reason to believe
Yeah.
that. And if
Yeah.
that isn't a punch in the gut, when I heard
Oh
that,
God.
it,
Yeah.
it took me I'm not over it, and I couldn't imagine being Brandy and Tyler. And it took a few days for my nerves to settle after hearing that.
Same. I think the same for me when I got the text from one of the news reporters that was in the room at Sarah Wondra's arraignment, and they text me like, here's what her charge is, right? And I was like, oh God, like, oh. you know, you just kind of have the breath literally just taken out of you kind of moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how that felt too. Yeah.
I don't know if you can see the screen before I get to the last comment and then get on with the show.
But yeah, I can see it.
Okay, Lee Ray said Brandon has outstanding warrants in Idaho. Now, this is just speculation because we don't know what's going through the mind of the chief. Wouldn't it be easy to bring him in on those warrants, or do you think that they just don't think he's involved?
I've listened to the infamous YouTube interview and the plans of the day and where everyone went and says they went. What was interesting to me, first of all, on all of that, if you're not from the area, Applebee's isn't right there. You know, that's 30 minutes away. So majority of the time that they spent running around, he claimed wasn't even in Fruitland. And it was very scattered and all over the place. Some of it sounded a little rehearsed or planned, and the rest of it just sounded cocky, in my opinion. I feel
Well, I mean, he was in a hot tub drinking a beer
with his dad.
I mean, you know, I thought there was a lot of very useful information that came out of it, but I'm telling you, that's a backdrop nobody expected.
So I wonder what and why, you know, but with Chief Huff, however, there's been so many times I've wondered what and why with Chief Huff. Like, why is he doing it this way? Why isn't he doing it that way? Kind of thing. And I've had those discussions one-on-one with Brandy on the phone, because there's been times that she and Tyler also, you know, feel that way. Like, why isn't information moving faster? Why can't we get blank, you know?
Mhm.
And there's always some sort of, you know, usually legal road bump, right? Warrant processes. The judge thinks this, the person says that. It's usually something like that. And you always have to kind of remember that, or I remind myself that I don't know near as much as this man. He's got 8, 9 different amazing agencies partnered with him on this case that he's brought in, because he is so smart and resourceful that, you know, the goal to find this child meant reaching outside this little tiny district and getting all the resources we can to find him. But that's a frustrating process. And then to think about, the family. And I mean, I saw them in person over Thanksgiving.
And you said they weren't holding up very good.
They are not. And they're even worse now, you know. It's not an okay situation over there. Like, they are, thankfully they have so much family around them. Brandy's sister flew into town, and you know, she's kind of taken the family nanny role, and she's helping everyone, and she's comforting them, and she's, you know, with her sister. I have a sister also in a very close relationship, so I see that bond and how beneficial it is to Brandy, Tyler, Bob, and everyone that she's there. Lots of friends still coming over with their kids and helping with Buggy. But you know, majority of the days are the not wanting to get out of bed and can't get out of bed days, because the thought of your child's remains being buried, moved, and that your child is most likely gone, and having, you know, this man tell you that to your face, like we're watching it on TV. You know, he's come to their living room and sat with them and cried and told them, "We believe."
You mean Chief Huff?
Yes.
Okay, and I put the map up so you guys can see. Some people still don't understand how Brandy and Tyler wouldn't know. This isn't even, honestly, even if it was the house across the street, they wouldn't. I mean, they wouldn't know. If somebody
Well, and you wouldn't know also,
you.
because one thing that was kind of, you know, speculated a lot on was the dogs over much of this time, right? Because we know from press conferences they had multiple dog teams out there, and we know what Brandy has said online, but we just don't know, matter of factly, like where exactly Michael's scent was lost in the road. We just know that Michael's scent was lost in the road, on his road somewhere. That usually indicates a child's placed in a vehicle. So even if, like you're saying, how close it is, I mean, a dog could lose the scent right there on his street and not know to go 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks over.
Right.
So yeah,
And
it
that
is
being
very scary. It's scary for parents. My nephew lives 30 minutes from this. He's 4. He's blonde hair, blue eyes, just like Michael. Like, this is petrifying to me when this happened. It still is. It still is for all the children in this area, because as we know from Chief Huff, there's many involved. I mean, is there more than Brandon and Adrian? Do other people know things?
I wouldn't be surprised. And I think that is a big part of this case. I don't think that he's just trying to use fancy words when they say it's complex and it's deep.
Well,
This is not just 4 minutes away. There's
yeah,
more to it. And
yeah,
the last comment that I had from the show, and I just wanted to clear this up, Sasha
yes.
said, it's a real shame these predators were not caught that night or for basically over a year. She said 4 minutes away. It's really hard to believe. Did law
Hmm.
enforcement even remotely look up these sexual predators in the area or use any common sense and use surveillance on that street? It's so lame. Stacy and
No,
Sarah, these people are not on the registered sex offender
no.
list.
Thank you, Brooks. I was gonna answer that. I think where people get that all confused, of course, is the neighbors directly next door are registered sex offenders. And to that note, there was some discussion on this in the past because people assume just because you're a registered sex offender, if a child goes missing in your neighborhood, that there's forced searches and you're required to open your door and allow that. And that's absolutely not true. Unless you are currently on probation or parole, where your PO can come into your home at any point. Just because you're a registered sex offender does not mean that you have to open your door to law enforcement anytime they come. You still have the right to privacy. So, as we sit until recently, when the neighbors gave permission for their yard to be searched, that was the first time that house was searched. So
And
these
it goes without saying, because I know when Brandy was on the interview room with Chris, he said, McDonough, he said to her, he said, I guarantee the first thing they did was shake up all the registered sex offenders. So they may
oh
not
yeah,
open the door, they may not get a
no,
warrant, but
no,
they still have a different way of talking to them.
they had to verify them. And I believe, I don't want to use the wrong legal term and be trolled for it, but it was like an address verification or something to that degree, where so when you are an RSO and you're off probation, you still have your supervisor person, right? So that person had to contact their RSOs within a certain radius, I don't know the radius, of the abduction or the disappearance, and ask them, where were you, verify where they were, verify they still live at that address, verify those things. That's the process that absolutely 100% took place with all the sex offenders, but that doesn't necessarily mean it gives you anything more to go on.
And they will, in some cases, haul them all in and say, you live in close proximity. I need to talk to you. They're not going to burn down the house, but they
No, and
will.
I heard rumors of, I don't know if it's true. I mean, just small town talk of an RSO that lives over on the Oregon side. I'm not going to say anything more than that because I don't want him trolled. But he supposedly, allegedly, was called in and questioned, and he's allegedly the one that has said that, to these people, like, yeah, I was called in and questioned because of my background, even, and I'm all the way over here. So I know they were looking at people that had similar charges, similar things like that, because that guy's charges would have made, him look like, oh, he did this X amount of years ago, maybe he did it again. And they talked to him, but within that 1 mile or 5 mile radius of the disappearance, no, just because that happened does not mean as a registered sex offender that you are required to open your door for a search.
And I have this up right now by Oksana. She said, I used to be worried about checking the watchdog list, but I'm more worried about who is around us that isn't a known offender yet. And here's the thing. This case is one. You're talking about Stacy and Sarah. Sarah's the one in jail in connection with Michael. Nobody else is. So she's not on the RSO list. you wouldn't know, because she just really looks like her mannerisms are not that would make you paranoid, if you know what I mean. Then we have the Athena case, where you're not thinking about somebody just dropping off a package. So the devil is crafty. For sure. For sure. All right, I'm going to get us caught up. Well, first I'm going to go through part of the news conference, and then, so we'll be up to speed, and then get us caught up with what has come out recently.
This is Sarah Wandra, 35 years old. Sarah lives at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland and was living there at the time of Michael's disappearance. We believe that Sarah has firsthand knowledge and is involved in Michael's abduction. Sarah Wandra is currently being held at the Fayette County Jail for failing to report a death to law enforcement. This is Sarah's husband, Stacy Wandra, 30 years old, a male. Stacy was also living at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland and was living there at the time of Michael's disappearance. We believe that Stacy has firsthand knowledge and is involved in the abduction of Michael Vaughn. Stacy's currently being held in the Washington County Jail on unrelated charges. Now, the next individuals I'm going to introduce you to, let's go at the bottom there. This is Brandon Shirtliff, 30 years old, of Kuna, Idaho. Brandon was living with Sarah and Stacy Wandra at 1102 Red Wing Street at the time of Michael's disappearance, and we believe Brandon has firsthand knowledge of Michael's abduction. Brandon is currently believed to be in North Dakota. Adrian Lucien, 32-year-old male out of Toledo, Ohio. Adrian was staying with Sarah and Stacy Wandra at 1102 Red Wing Street at the time of Michael's disappearance, and we believe that Adrian has firsthand knowledge of Michael's abduction. Adrian's currently believed to be in Toledo, but floats between Ohio and California. I strongly encourage Shirtliff and Lucien to contact the Fruitland Police Department detectives, as the window of time for talking and cooperation is coming to a close. This remains an active and ongoing investigation, with conversations taking place with the Fayette County Prosecutor's Office about Michael's case and those individuals involved.
All right, so that day, which was 13 days ago, he says, the time's running out for us to cooperate with you. Now, neither Brandon or Adrian, and I'm sure word got to them, were in a big hurry to get a hold of Huff. They were not in a big hurry.
Where were they a year ago? No, Brandon was too busy in the hot tub with his pops and whatever, becoming a YouTube star. Adrian, I mean, I'm glad that I was glad to hear that. I was glad to hear when they put the statement on Facebook that they spoke to both of these people. Use the term people lightly. But yeah, I'm sure they did hear, because we flooded social media. We made sure everyone was talking about it. You were talking about it. Everyone had their face out there. His sister is a well-known, big, Adrian's sister is a big model and Instagram influencer. She's stunning. I was surprised that it's his sister, but it is. I emailed her, and unfortunately they, sadly, due to his lifestyle, do not have a relationship, and she is estranged from him, and she has no clue where her brother is or what he's doing, what kind of life, he is. And she was very saddened about this, and she hopes that, Michael is found and justice is found for him as well.
And I can only imagine why they're estranged. Brandy says, you have to be next to your child always. My son, 18, I was still in the doctor's inside. I don't know about the doctor inside, but it is physically impossible to be next to your child at all times.
She probably means, I bet she has a daughter, or maybe even a boy too. I still went in the room with the doctor with my children. She probably means that, I imagine, Brooks, being in the room with the doctor examining your child.
Yeah, and it's just physically impossible to be
next to your
child at all times. And also, let us not forget, adults get kidnapped as well. Okay?
They do. And the more I've learned about that subject matter, just in working with Michael's family this last year, the more it terrifies me for my young adult men that are out there making their way in the world, as the man cubs that they are in their early 20s. I hear stories of Brian Vladicastle just disappearing off the face of the earth. That scares me to death. It's happening a lot. And so we do need to be aware, of our surroundings, teach our children at very young ages, and also have these conversations with, our loved ones now as adults, because it happens.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even adults get kidnapped. You have to be aware of your surroundings. And the thing is where's the balance between not being a paranoid, neurotic, crazy ass person, yet being vigilant? I don't know. There's got to be a balance somewhere.
There is. My father is also a retired police officer. So as a young woman, I also fully believe in carrying protection of some kind.
Sure.
Whatever it means for you, find it. Pepper spray, stun guns. There's a great Idaho-based company called Damsel in Defense that has really, cute, feminine type self-defense products. And right up to, I'm from Idaho. I grew up learning how to shoot. I shot guns, and I have, you've talked about the Idaho Moscow case, and you bring up hunters, and everyone gets so like, oh my God.
Man, in that case, I step in it all the time. I'm used to
everyone hunts in Idaho.
I'm used to people hating on me about Billy. That's one thing. I wasn't expecting this in the Idaho case for me to go, that's not a big deal that people hunt. They're not hunting people. It's not a big deal for people to have Facebook pictures of themselves with
dead animals.
With dead animals, or carry a gun, or carry a knife. I really couldn't believe that people didn't know this. Lorraine has a question. What about the trip to Texas that Sarah took? She was supposed to go pick up a dog, but in her TikTok, there was never a dog. They did get a pit bull because Stacy has a picture with the pit bull.
Oakley. It's named Oakley, too. I thought that was so weird.
But I put on the screen, they did get off track. I don't know exactly where they went to get the dog, because they went to New Mexico. That's where Stacy couldn't breathe, and an ambulance had to come get him.
If any of this is true, yes. So I don't know anything about this. I mean, I know about these social posts, Lorraine, like to try to answer your question. I've seen the social posts as well, and the stories of going here and going there and traveling, and cab companies to Vegas and things like that. But I don't know what's factual. Sarah seems, clearly she's off her rocker. She's in the hands of the Idaho State Health and Welfare Department right now to get her mentally competent for court. So, I take a lot of this with a grain of salt, because even her TikToks about all the religion and God stuff didn't really start flooding the airwaves, so to speak, until after Michael's disappearance. So
that tells you
not right there.
As if that doesn't tell you something.
Right. Something's definitely not right there.
She goes overboard with Jesus after Michael's disappearance. And I'm just one of those people that when someone plays that card, it's because they're compensating for something else. Like they go to jail, they get life or the death penalty, and suddenly they find Jesus. Well, they find Jesus because they're compensating for the nastiness that they've done. Jeffrey Dahmer found Jesus. He got baptized, the whole 9 yards.
Correct.
But they did, according to her Facebook, and it'll be easy for the police to find out. I'm sure they have. They find out where they got the dog. They find out what hospital he went to. And I think that the speculation and the elephant in the room is if his remains were at one point in the backyard and they know they were there, but they're not there anymore, and they took this trip to Texas, they could be anywhere between Fruitland, Idaho, and New Mexico.
Correct. And that's a scary that's a scary thought, especially for Michael's family, because, you know, if in fact that's true and they did do something and they killed him, you know, to think about not having your child's remains back to be able to bury is another punch to the gut type thought, you know?
Well, this that she put on Facebook really, really took me aback. Now, it's about public schools. Sarah doesn't need to worry about public schools because the pit bull is not going to go to public school.
Right.
But she put on there, watch out, you are walking into traps. Guard your children. Take it from me, I promise. This is after the trip to Texas.
I've not seen this one.
Yeah.
Wow. This goes right up there with having Michael's missing poster on her refrigerator for me. Like,
Yep,
what a
it's right
statement.
there. It's right there.
Well, and you know where she probably got that from, don't you? His mother, because Brandy knocked on their door. She remembers knocking. She knocked on every single house in that whole subdivision, and she left posters. She remembers knocking on the Wondrous door 3 times and not having answers and leaving posters.
So Brandy told me that too. She said I probably gave him a missing poster.
That's probably exactly where she got it. They were either in the house and ignored her, or came home and saw it left on their door. And then, you know, and then also somebody in our Facebook group sent me yesterday. So over the last year, you know, as we put posters up, oftentimes people let us know as they get damaged and we go replace them. Well, there's a local laundromat where we had 3 different incidences of Michael's poster being vandalized. And I mean by horrific things done to Michael's face in the poster 3 times. And this person in the Facebook group found several pictures on Sarah and Stacy Wendra's profile of them at that same laundromat. So that was all sent to law enforcement yesterday. I don't know if they can get footage, but that's the laundromat they were frequenting for some reason.
Well, because she had a laundry business. In July of 2021, she opened up her own laundry business where she was doing laundry for people. And my question was, is she using her own washer and dryer, or is she going to the laundromat? Now we know. Lana.
Yep, they were going to the laundromat, and the same laundromat that 3 times we had. And I mean, like, I'm not going to show the image. I'll send them to you privately, Brooks, so you can see them. But I just don't want Brandy to see them again. She did see them when they happened.
Okay.
You know, and but 3 times somebody made horrible vandalism to his posters in a horrific manner, very hurtful, and they were at that laundromat that the Wondras used.
Because I put together their weird ass timeline of what went on in their life leading up to Michael's disappearance, and they're weird ducks anyway, but there was a lot of oddities. And the odd businesses, everything from lube to laundry. And I said, well, here, and now you verify it, they're tearing up his missing posters at the laundromat, but for some reason, keep a trophy to keep on their own refrigerator. And she opened up her own laundry business. I wouldn't want them folding my drawers.
No, I wouldn't want them anywhere near me. It's very disturbing. Yeah, to think that they killed Michael, if that's true, and put him in the yard. I don't know, Brooks. I don't see either of them digging anything anywhere, and having the physical capacity to do so. So I still feel like others.
I don't either. And that's what I said. When I saw them, and no, I'm not body shaming. I'm
not either. I've been a big girl. I've had the up and down with my weight.
No, I am Stacy and Sarah Wandera shaming, but I could see Adrian and Brandon if you look at your
Exactly.
screen on the right side, I could see them digging a hole.
Well, especially Brandon, because Brandon's dad owns an excavation company. So Brandon definitely knows how to dig holes.
Yep. Yep. But no, these two on the screen did no hard labor.
No.
No. That's
No.
what they're
Yeah,
doing right there. That's the most they can muster.
exactly. I agree. And that's probably why I'd imagine, knowing that her parents are close by and own their home, kind of, going back to what you're saying about the different businesses, I wonder if with the lack of mental fortitude that these two have combined, those businesses might have been parental influence. Like, why don't you do this? Then why don't you do that? Then why don't you try that? Because I've done the same with my kids, trying to motivate them, getting them into different things. So maybe her parents were supporting, because I know she said in the arraignment her father half owns her vehicle, which she uses for her cab company. So they could be involved with the business or have a little more knowledge to things as well.
Mm-hmm. Shelly has a comment, and this is something that we discuss on here. It comes up every time, and it needs to continue to come up. She said, I wonder who broke the case after a year. Stacy in jail trying to reduce his sentence? I have my own theory about this. I think Stacy was just talking to the other inmates and let something slip, and it was either repeated or overheard. That's just my theory, though. But I do think that the break in the case lies with Stacy. What do you think?
See, I think this goes back to, we were talking about JD Huff and how wonderful he puts his words together, because a credible tip from inside the home uh would have to be those four faces we saw on screen just a minute ago, or her parents, because they own the home.
Oh,
So I still have this little inkling that, I'm not saying her parents were involved or had any involvement. There's been nothing to say that thus far. So making that clear. But there could be, they've been clearly taking care of her. The home that she lives in is owned by them. They must know about her mental issues clearly as her parents. They might suspect it. They might have suspected something, or they might have found something, or they might have, seen something. And her parents could also be that credible tip. But I did think Stacy as well. I'm kind of leaning with you, Brooks. So for me, it's Stacy or her parents that came forward with the tip to begin with. And I don't see Stacy. I don't know. I guess I have a hard time believing that Stacy and Sarah would tell on each other. It seems like they have quite the bond.
quite the bond. And for this show, and I'm speaking for you too, Lana, because I know you feel the same way, their mental capacity has no bearing on this case. Because if their mental capacity is so diminished, they couldn't keep a secret this long. They couldn't cover it up.
Oh, I agree. I was actually honestly surprised that she even got 30 days of from the competence, the last hearing. I was surprised they found her incompetent, because Idaho in the books doesn't accept the crazy plea.
No.
So if they find you incompetent, then what they're saying, and all they're saying, is that you don't understand enough about the case to participate in your defense. They're not saying like you're a lunatic, and if you are that level, then they're going to put you in the state hospital with a straitjacket forever. Like they just don't mess around with it. But they will not allow you to say, I did this thing because I'm crazy. That plea is not allowed in court. They'll keep you in the hospital with teams, with meds, with clean food. And Idaho state hospitals are not some of the most highly rated either. So, I mean, you'll be monitored until you understand what's going on in that courtroom and can sit there and work with your lawyer on your defense. But that's all that means. It doesn't mean that your mental capacity was so low you didn't understand what you did.
No, they're going to get you up to snuff, and then you're going to go where you can participate in your own defense. I didn't know that Idaho rolled like that. Idaho is actually a lot like Oklahoma, except we use the death penalty a lot more. And Texas is doing the same thing right now with the man that murdered Cash Gernon. Now, he
Okay.
has he hasn't gotten well enough yet, but they get him up to snuff and they're like, okay, now they understand. So it's time to get rolling for justice. Now, that doesn't mean if they find them to be incompetent, some people think that means it's a free pass or it's an easier road to hoe. That's not
No.
it at all. It's
Nope.
not like they're laying by a pool and they get a silver tray of pills every day and because
Yeah.
they're
No,
not.
no,
No, no.
they're not going to the same facility Martha Stewart went to. Okay.
God, no.
No.
And I love the DA in Fruitland. I'm just going to play a clip real quick and then I'll get to this clip and I'll get us up to speed, I promise. Where he said she's not like us. She can't sit with us, is what he's saying. She doesn't follow the same social norms as we do. I love this quote. Hang on.
Initially disappeared. I think it shows that she's a danger to the community, and she fails to abide by the social norms that we all expect. And there are obviously very serious implications in her being aware of his whereabouts this whole time. So
he says she fails to abide by the same social norms that
I
we
didn't
all
hear that. That clip was muted. Did anyone else hear it?
I heard it on my end. He said she fails to abide by the same social norms that we expect. Meaning, Sarah, good, crazy or not, you cannot, you're not fit for society, Sarah.
Yeah, and the social norms thing, like that's something that can be all different kinds of disorders that do present in childhood that bring about a lack of understanding and social norms. I mean, ADHD even is one of them. Not saying that she has that, but you understand what I'm saying. If any of these mental health illnesses or anything that she could possibly be diagnosed with that presented as a child for her parents could have and would have most likely brought about some sort of level of social anxiety, not feeling like a normal kid in the community, so therefore not understanding social cues. And then as that continues to build and grow up, and this is what you get to this level, is a person who looks like they're, I mean, emotionless from what I saw in the clips, you know.
Her social anxiety could be that she knew what happened to Michael and knew she couldn't say anything.
Yeah, because I mean, we don't know what their dynamic was like behind closed doors. You know, we just know and can see, as we mentioned, clearly Stacy and Sarah do, for whatever reason, whoever they are, have a really strong bond of some kind, healthy or not. You know, it's there, it's present.
But they're getting a divorce. They might be divorced by now.
I know, but I think that's also part of their up and down, back and forth erratic lifestyle, right? Or was you know, I don't know. The divorce never happened. They were still together.
And he's been in jail since April or May, so she knows she's in the clear. She can tell him what happened to Michael. And I really hope through her therapy in the hospital, whatever they're doing with her, whatever pill and hug and counseling she's getting, that they can get out of her what truly happened.
Same, Brooks. I was actually thinking about that after the court did deem her incompetent. I had the thought, I wondered, because of her own individual background and path, if she would not be more comfortable talking to therapists in the hospital versus police officers anyway.
Whatever gets it done. Whatever.
Exactly. 1000%. Find Michael.
Whatever gets it done. All right, let me get us up to speed here. This is about how they have made contact with Brandon and Adrian. They have not arrested Brandon and Adrian. According to Shannon, True Crime with Shannon, she said their warrants are not the type where you would extradite from another state. We know how it goes with DAs. They can escalate those if need be. So have no fear.
Continuing to follow the investigation into missing 5-year-old Michael Vaughan of Fruitland. Fruitland police say they have made contact with the men who may have information about Michael's remains. Last week, they asked for the public's help locating 30-year-old Brandon Shirtliff of Cuna and 32-year-old Adrian Lucien of Toledo, Ohio. That is Lucien there, and then that is Shirtliff. Both men were staying at the home of Sarah and Stacy Wandra on Red Wing Street when Michael disappeared back in July of 2021. Fruitland police say they are working closely with the Payette County prosecutor as they continue to investigate. Fruitland police also announced today that they searched the backyard of a home next to the Wandras on Red Wing Street, but say they found no indication that Michael had been there. Police previously searched the home of Sarah and Stacy Wandra. This is video while that search was going on. Police Chief J.D. Huff says he is confident Michael's remains were on the Wandra's property but were moved. Sarah Wandra is currently charged with failing to notify the coroner of a death. However, Michael's body has not been found at this point.
Police are still looking for any information about Michael's disappearance. If you have any, you're at.
So they searched the RSO's yard next door. No sign that Michael was ever in that yard, but we heard in the press conference, Chief Huff said they have every reason to believe that at one time he was not walking around in the yard, but that he was in the yard of the Wandras. So they made contact with Adrian and Brandon, and no arrest. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but of course, the minute it does, you're going to hear from me.
Same. That's exactly where it's at. Law enforcement is keeping in direct contact with the family. There's a lot of talk about how police are handling things up in Moscow, for example, and with the families and that tragedy up there. And it's been nothing like that for this family. And through this, especially, they're in contact with them daily. They are, law enforcement is in support of this family daily. They're giving them as much information as they can. There's, like you said earlier, there's the press conferences where Brandy heard there was non-compliant people. And I listened to you talk about how you asked her afterwards and she told you that she heard that for the first time. That is true. Same. I was blowing her phone up after that press conference, listening to that going, wait, what a second. What? How come you didn't tell me there's non-compliant people?
She didn't know.
She didn't know. She didn't know that her own neighbors in her own community right around her, she felt it. The crazy thing is that we'd had conversations because she had felt it in her gut that it was closer to home than she was comfortable with, clearly, and that people knew and were hiding. And that's the thing. When I saw her Thanksgiving, she just looked at me and she just broke and just hit her head on my shoulder and just sobbed and said, how can they know and not help my baby?
Because they're responsible. And that's what you have to wrap your head around. They are probably the ones that abducted him. She didn't even report his death. That craziness that she told the police when they came to the house and got her ass off the couch at 9:00 at night. Oh, God told me it was Stacy. No, it was Adrian.
Yeah.
She knew damn good and well. She knew damn good and well what happened.
What happened? Yes.
It's awful. It's just disgusting. It is just disgusting. And the thing is what little bit we know, and this goes to show you that even when there is close communication with the family, they can't tell them what's really going on. Not because they don't want Brandy and Tyler to know, but because they have to keep the investigation quiet.
They do. And prior to these details, we could always say to each other, and what Brandy would always say is, Michael's safe recovery is the only priority. So she wants to know more. Of course she does. We all do. But Michael is the only priority, and justice for Michael.
And she has always been okay with that. I shouldn't say okay with that. And I'm not speaking for Brandy. I'm just saying conversations that things she has said on this panel herself. Let me just say it that way.
She trusts Chief Huff explicitly. So if he withholds information from her, she's totally okay with that because she knows it's for Michael.
AG wants to know if Chris McDonough is still there. Did he make it back?
Why is Chris McDonough there? That is the question. So
no, is he still there? Because I know he went up to Moscow for a few days. Did he make it back to Fruitland, or
well, I don't know. Did he go up to Moscow, or did he just report from his trailer? Because he's
no,
got,
he was up there. He was outside of
Okay.
the house. He found.
Well, I'm not following. God, there's so much going on. I'm not following everything. So, I don't know. Then I would have to ask Brandy if he's coming back or if he's still in Fruitland. Then, so whether he's still there or not, I don't have an answer for that. But he has been there, yes, and that was quiet until recent, of course, when he was, caught on the hunt. But he has been a pivotal, member of the team working with law enforcement because he has a lot of resources from his previous work. So, and his current work as well with the Cold Case Foundation. So we talked about that a while ago. I've mentioned it several times. I think I've even come on your panel and talked about the Cold Case Foundation coming on with Michael's case. And it was not because the case went cold, but because the foundation had a lot of technologies and resources to bring, specifically in like mining data, things like that. And they came to the table and just started from the beginning and, went through all the information. And Chris was huge in bringing that to the table for Michael's case and other resources, along with all the agencies we've seen at all the press conferences, so they were all working together. And Chris stopped reporting on Michael on his YouTube. If you guys didn't notice, there was a reason for that, because, he signed an agreement when he brought the Cold Case Foundation to town and started this work that, he was not going to be doing that. So that's why he was in Fruitland and what he and the foundation were doing.
They do amazing work too. They did a lot of work for, and they might still be. I need to reach out to her for Michaela Jones. I got Stacy Jones, her mother, in contact with them, and she mainly works with James and Kathy, I believe.
Well, the whole team. I mean, when Brandy first told me they were coming on, and I went and looked at the foundation's website, I was floored. The whole board. It just, every individual person on there's background is just amazing. And if you're interested, Chris recently interviewed a handful of people from the foundation on his channel. He had a panel about digital technologies and how they're changing, and Web3 is opening up and what that means for protecting our children and predators, and how they're going to be using Web3 with about, I want to say 5 or 6 of the experts from the Cold Case Foundation in this discussion on that. And it is really good, especially if you're a parent. You should go listen to that and be in the know on how predators are adapting to technology as technology grows. But that foundation blows my mind, and all the organizations that came, because there was another one, I can't remember the name, but they're out of Arizona, and it was just a data company, and what they do for cases was amazing.
They know their stuff for sure. He does great work. And I'm sure that the chief and everybody else is very happy to have their resources. Very. All right, I'm going to look at this clip real quick, and then I've got something else for you guys. Hang on.
Well, Fruitland boy Michael Vaughn disappeared from his neighborhood more than a year ago. And today, there are still so many questions surrounding what happened. Yesterday, in a news conference, Fruitland police revealed the identities of 2 more people who they believe have firsthand knowledge in Michael's abduction. And one of those people talked with a YouTube blogger just last week. Here's a look at some of that interview. Videos circulating on social media are shedding light on 3 of the 4 people Fruitland police named in connection with Michael Vaughn's disappearance.
It's actually really hard sometimes to be that vulnerable with people.
But who are these people? Just last week, YouTube blogger Jonathan Lee Riches talked with Brandon Sherliff about the then 5-year-old's disappearance. This interview came 5 days before police named Sherliff and Adrian Lucien as 2 people believed to have firsthand knowledge in Michael's abduction.
You ever hear Sarah or Stacy talk about the Vaughns or mention the Vaughns or say anything?
Never once. Not even. The only time I heard them ever mention the Vaughns is when they stopped the car that day and they said, "Hey, there's somebody that's missing in the neighborhood. His name's Michael Vaughn. Do you guys know him or know where he went?" That was the first time that came up to my.
But he was with them the day Monkey was abducted. What does he mean they were driving around?
No.
And goes, hey.
Okay, I like this part. I like that we went and watched this. So question asked was, do you ever hear them say anything about the Vaughns? No, never. Never did they say anything. Except one time, that one time when we were coming back.
Except that one time, hey, there's someone missing in the neighborhood. But they were with them the day of.
I know. This disgusts me, and this makes me sick that KTV put it on there. I've already dealt with that. KTVB, I reached out and got the direct manager's contact and emailed him about Jonathan Lee Riches and giving Jonathan Lee Riches platform on KTVB the way they did, legitimizing him and helping this video go viral. So hopefully, they have read that and are aware, because they should have never put this on Channel 7.
I mean, it is what it is. It's out, and we get kind of a, I guess, I'm trying to find the nice word, taste of what Brandon's all about. I've never seen anybody chug a Coors Banquet beer in a hot tub.
Watching this makes me sick to my stomach. I was feeling like green and like the vomit in the back of my throat feeling.
Well, listen to how he says it. I mean, JLR, he asked him flat out, have they ever brought this up? Listen to how he replies. He doesn't even take a second. It's like he was prepared for these questions.
Sarah or Stacy talk about the Vaughns or mention the Vaughns or say anything?
Never once. Not even. The only time.
Never once.
Never once. Oh, the only time I heard them was the one time. Yeah.
Of course you've heard Brandon. Of course you have Mr. Coors Banquet, because you took
Mr. Coors Banquet.
You took the call. You took the call. You FaceTimed with JLR. If you never heard the name, you wouldn't even be curious. And when the press conference came out, why didn't you ring the police immediately?
Right. Why didn't you ring JD Huff? You should have been FaceTiming JD Huff, not JLR.
Like Mama K said, never once, except for once.
Yeah, exactly, Mama K. Never once did I ever, except that one time, maybe, I heard them say it this time.
And now that I think about it, and I'm FaceTiming with you, and you're covering the case of Michael Vaughn, it all adds up. Oh, I heard they're in jail too. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Get me another beer.
Now.
Yeah, get me another beer, Dad. Are you kidding me?
Time I heard them ever mention the.
Yeah.
It's
Vaughns
disgusting.
is when they stopped the car that day and they said, "Hey, there's somebody that's missing in the neighborhood. His name's Michael Vaughn. Do you guys know him or know where he went?" That was the first time that came up.
Now, how come they had to stop the car to talk about somebody missing in the neighborhood?
Because they wanted to stop and go, hey, what's going on? Most likely they, in the car, saw people and pulled up and pulled the whole, what's going on to, because you know what? They always watch. They always watch.
Just the way he said it. And they stopped the car. Well, why would they need to stop the car?
I bet the police stopped every car that came in the subdivision that night. I guarantee. If you were coming home, they would have stopped the car and been like, hey, that's probably what happens.
And how were Brandon and Adrian with Sarah and Stacy that day and not notice an abduction?
Well, didn't he say, correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't watched this whole thing minute by minute because I can't stand it. I've just seen these clips. Did he not say earlier in this interview that it was him, Sarah, and Adrian driving around and Stacy was home?
I missed that, but maybe that is what he said.
Because I thought it was him and Adrian and Sarah went to Nampa to take Adrian somewhere and ran around doing a bunch of stuff. Well, he didn't say Nampa. He said Applebee's, and Applebee's is in Nampa.
I could not believe that. So you go and you get Sarah a belly full of ribs while all this is going on?
Yeah, so it's almost like it and if again, we'd have to go, I don't know where and it was, but I remember seeing that. I thought he says Stacy was home and the three of them were out, but I could be wrong. We'd have to listen to it again. But yeah, but regardless, if you came home, he did say, "Thank you, Julie." I thought that. So Stacy would have been home alone. And again, if you're not from Fruitland, the area that they went, the Applebee's by the mall, that's in Nampa, Idaho, 30 minutes down the freeway. So if they were gone running around, if that's true, took Adrian wherever they took him to wherever they took him, and then came back to Fruitland and this was going on, that means they would have came home to Stacy having Michael in the house. I mean, and not done anything? I don't understand that. What would happen in that moment?
Well, and he can't act all shy like he doesn't know them that well because Sarah
was living there.
Well, and Sarah was trying to get his manhood, if you know what I mean.
Allegedly.
Sarah wanted Brandon to give her a baby because I guess just aerodynamically, Stacy couldn't hit the target, if you know what I mean.
Which also makes me just sick to my stomach thinking that that could have been part of their motive.
Could have been. Could have been. Not ready to go with that yet. They are disgusting people.
They're
so
just
he just can't act like he's not in this circle, if you know what I mean.
No,
because
can't.
She approached him for him to have sex with her.
Which was probably going on. That's probably his way of saying it was happening.
I guarantee he did.
Mm-hmm.
Lies.
To my attention. And then, as far as I know, they both said, no, we don't know where he's at. Let's go help look for him.
Shurliff says.
But they were never seen out looking for Michael. So now how can he back the truck up with that lie? Let's go look for him, because they have a TikTok. I'll put it up here in a second. On the day that Michael disappeared, where many people say that's not in Fruitland. They got out of town. That's the TikTok they took is not from that area.
Oh, the farmland one?
Yeah, where is that?
I grew up in this area. There are so many areas that look like that. So it could be Parma, it could be Weezer. I believe some web sleuths did pin it down, but I'm not sure exactly where. But it did show. I know that Michelle After Dark went and got the metadata or something of when it was posted, and that video was posted at 7:42 a.m. on July 27th, 2021.
So it wasn't later in the day, because what it shows on TikTok is it was posted that night.
Nope, she pulled it and she's got a video of that. She did it live on her channel. And
it means nothing. It's from that morning, because he wasn't abducted till later that day. All right, so we can skip past that. Well, good for that. I don't know why it shows one thing on TikTok and then another thing there, but I'll look into that later. So let's get back to Brandon.
As he was with Sarah Wandra and Adrian the day Michael disappeared.
I was with Sarah that whole day, and Adrian.
I was with Sarah that whole day and Adrian. Sarah is the one in jail or getting, souped up for court right now. That is in jail for knowing about Michael's death and not reporting it. He says it right there. I was with Sarah and Adrian all day. How did Sarah not know what was going on?
Yes, that is the question.
She's in jail. She's in jail for not reporting Michael's death. Maddening.
And then Stacy was left home alone.
Last month, police arrested Sarah Wandra for...
So she comes home and Stacy says, look what I did.
Yeah, I mean, I laugh, but seriously, because any logical person who came home and your husband is there with a child would be like, but what? You know, that's just not real life, right? But that's apparently what may have allegedly happened here.
Yeah, that's kind of how they're making it sound and keeping themselves out of it, even though she wanted you to give her a baby. So you get home after being with Brandon and Adrian, like I said, eating ribs and Coors at the Applebee's. You go home, there's a whole child, and you don't say take it back.
Yeah, you don't say call the police.
Yet they stop the car and say, "Oh, there's someone missing." No,
and then drive home and he's in your living room.
No,
I don't understand it. I'm still
no. And 2 days later, they post this.
I guess exfoliated.
There is now, because I just made that shit up.
Babe, what'd you say?
I feel
It's muted.
exfoliated.
Exfoliating is exfoliating your skin.
Oh, well, I feel infoliated.
There's no such thing as exfoliated.
There is now, because I just made that shit up.
ugh.
So she takes a video of him exfoliating his skin.
Yeah.
So she obviously is cognitive as to what's going on around her surroundings.
Yeah, they were very social media savvy, I guess is the best term.
Oh, they shared Michael's article. He changed his profile picture to that of Little Monkey. Right here it says August 1st. There's Michael Vaughn, and it says Stacy Wandra updated his profile picture.
I know. So
just too much with these people, and I don't trust Brandon any further than I can throw his empty beer can.
no, just the energy you get from that video when you watch him talk. It just makes me, I see so many like gross little green face emojis. Like that's how I feel too, listening to Brandon talk. I get that green face emoji feeling. I'm just like, no, thank you. Sick.
They are. They're going to get theirs.
For failing to report a death. She lived in the house on Red Wing Street with her husband.
And then Stacy was left home alone.
Last month, police arrested Sarah Wandra for failing to report a death. She lived in the house on Red Wing Street with her husband, Stacy Wandra. The same house police excavated and searched for Michael. Stacy Wandra is currently being held in the Washington County Jail for unrelated charges.
Although the remains of Michael Vaughn were not recovered, we strongly believe, based on evidence, that Michael was abducted and is deceased, and that his remains were buried and later moved from the property.
During Thursday's news conference, Fruitland police said both Shirley and Lucienne were staying with the Wandras at the time of Michael's disappearance. Police say Lucienne is believed to be floating between Ohio and California. While drinking beer and sitting in a hot tub in North Dakota, Shirley also revealed the Wandras were religious or hid behind religion.
I thank God for you. I hope you say a prayer for me.
Like the whole time I was there, they just say, oh, we believe in God and God tells me what we should do for the day and how to help people, and we believe in doing good to the community. So I don't know why they would go from that to getting caught with guns and then trying to run off with a story that definitely didn't happen in front of my eyes.
He also revealed he was not in
a story that definitely didn't happen in front of my eyes, he said.
Definitely didn't happen in front of my eyes. I know.
Listen to that again. Listen to how he said it. It's a wonder JLR didn't jump through the phone and go, what the hell do you mean?
Yeah,
exactly. Because I would have. I'd have been like, what? It definitely didn't happen right in front of my eyes. Listen to that again.
Like the whole time I was there, they just say, oh, we believe in God and God tells me what we should do for the day and how to help people, and we believe in doing good to the community. So I don't know why they would go from that to getting caught with guns and then trying to run off with a story that definitely didn't happen in front of my eyes.
Definitely didn't happen in front of my eyes.
Yeah, I caught the...
Callie Dime said, if Brandon is talking, he is lying. Listen to him. Definitely didn't happen right in front of my eyes.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see it happen. So...
Right in front of my eyes? I mean, you might as well just say it, Brandon.
Yeah, not in
the
front
police
of my
already
eyes.
said they believe you were there.
Yeah. His eyes must have a different story. Exactly, Lockdown.
Like the whole time I was there, they just say, "Oh, we believe in God." And
yeah, he's double trouble. Those glasses are so thick he can see into the future. Look at him, nerd.
Exactly.
He knows. He was there.
God tells me what we should do for the day and how to help people, and we believe in doing good to the community. So I don't know why they would go from that to getting caught with guns and then trying to run off with a story that definitely didn't happen in front of my eyes.
He also revealed he was not in Idaho at the time of the interview, but his family has a home here.
The police and the detectives and everything, they've been at my mom's house since I've been gone. They're beside themselves and just scared and freaking out.
As questions continue,
I bet his family is scared and freaking out because they've got the police crawling all over them wanting to know what they know. You've been talking to him.
I feel bad for his mother, honest to God. She supposedly has said what a good boy he is and a loving person with a great heart, and he would never be involved in anything like this. And she's the home in Idaho, I believe. So she's struggling with the fact that her son was potentially involved with something like this, and that as a mom just broke my heart for her because she really has no clue, it seems.
April has a good point. She says, here's what gets me about this guy. He works for the taxi service, and what a racket they have with that. Him and one other guy, but he only saw the other guy once, and he has no working car. That ad she put out was, got to have your own car, your own gas money, your own insurance, and we'll just send you on these rides. That's called doing someone a favor, Sarah. That's not how you get employees.
Yeah, that's not a job.
So we'll dispatch you on these rides, but you're
going to pay for everything. We're just...
I mean, who would take somebody up on that deal? It's like, well, no, I can put my own ad out on Craigslist. I don't need you in the middle.
Right.
Are you kidding me? I can do that myself. I can even one up you, and I can download the Uber app and have them dispatch me. I don't need
you.
I don't need you and Stacy. God, when I saw that, I was like, that what a way. That's like saying I need a secretary, but you need to get your own office, your own computer. Are you kidding me?
continue to surround this home where all 4 people stayed at one point. Still, no definitive answer as to what happened to Michael. And we reached out to Fruitland Police and asked if they have seen these videos, and police tell us they have indeed watched all of them.
They said they have indeed watched all of them. Of course they have. Of course they have. Crybaby said, who in God's name would get in the car with any of them? I would like to know about their clientele as well. And I hope all their clientele is tracked down and talked to by the powers that be. Thomas said, why would Sarah pick up Adrian from the airport and take him to her house? She's just a taxi driver. Because plans were a cooking.
Right, because plans were cooking. Exactly, Brooks. They because at least in Thomas, I think in my opinion, at least with this specific situation of Adrian, they already had previous relationship or contact for some reason to, do business of some kind. to hang out together, to do something. So that was, I don't believe she went to pick him up from the airport as a taxi driver and take him to her house. I think that was the plan. He was coming to stay with them.
If a taxi driver picks you up from the airport and says, "It's okay, you can come stay with me," jump out of the cab. You have a shot of recovering from the injuries. Exactly. If they're not going too fast.
In fact, I believe that's the plot of several, Lifetime movies. So, based on real life.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I mean, really disgusting. I was going to go through a little bit before I shut down. This is from Monkey's birthday. Brandy was on panel, and she was talking about all the preparations she was making. She was talking about presents that they had bought for Monkey. I had kind of teased her a little bit, and I have, up recently about where do you put all of this stuff? Because as Easter, Christmas, birthdays and everything go on, she had mentioned one time, well, I know when he gets home, he's obviously going to have grown, so I'm buying his clothes bigger now and things like that. And if that doesn't hit you right in the gut, I don't know what would.
Sorry, I'm shaking. I haven't stopped.
Did you sleep at all last night?
About an hour. 6 years ago, I woke up about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I thought it was Braxton Hicks, because a week prior, I thought I had gone into labor, and what I had actually done, because I was so big with him, I had torn the muscles in my ribs right here.
Oh.
Because I was so big. It was all belly. He was all belly. And so I woke up about 1 o'clock in the morning. Tyler was watching TV. And I was like, God, I just don't feel right. I'm going to get in the shower, And I was like, oh, it's just Braxton Hicks. And it's no big deal. Got, 5 more days before he's supposed to be born. Because he was supposed to be born it was longer. Because he was supposed to be born on the 4th of July. And so I got in the shower, and then my contractions just kept coming faster and faster, and was like, Jesus Christ, okay. And so I laid on the couch for about an hour, and it was just not okay. And I was like, all right, Ty, we gotta go. And the hospital that all of the kids have been born in is about 45 minutes away. And so by the time we get to the hospital, driving that way towards Boise it's always morning traffic, like between 5:30 a.m. and 6:30 a.m. And we were at like dead stop traffic. And I had this contraction, and I almost ripped the little armrest off. And at one point, I think I told Tyler to drive on the meridian, the grass, to get around everything. We got to the hospital, and let's see, he was born about 4.5 hours later.
He was ready.
Yeah. Yeah. He's perfect. I mean, he's been on the go ever since.
Mm-hmm. And he's coming home. He's coming home.
He's coming home.
That was such a hard show to do for his birthday. And I couldn't imagine being Brandy when Huff went to her and used the words remains.
Yeah.
Because I will never forget when Chris McDonough used monkey in past tense, and she stopped him dead right there and said, no, I mean, she wasn't having it.
Right. And I just spoke to her, I want to say day before yesterday, and as difficult as it is, her heart is still hoping that this is the craziest goddamn story we've ever heard. Mm-hmm. And Chief Huff is going to carry her son across that lawn to her. one day, you know, until Michael is found in otherwise, you know, that's where her heart is at, you know, is hoping that somebody made a mistake somewhere, or because she doesn't have all of that information, right? Like we said earlier, she doesn't have everything they have. She only has these bits and pieces. And while she trusts Huff explicitly, to hear him say the word remains, searching for remains, to her face in her living room, you know, is excruciatingly difficult. Hope. Hope is where she's holding that, because this is her baby. And, you know, she wants to hope that, like I said, this is just the most absurd thing we've ever heard, and he comes home safe. And that's what we're trying to hold for her as her support system, you know, and make sure that their mental health is in check, and that they're showering and sleeping and eating, and you know, have all the things they need while they ride this emotional roller coaster, and hopefully come through it together and in one piece. You know, it's all we can do.
And we still hold out hope. And in the meantime, we got to really have faith in law enforcement that
Yes, ma'am.
they like she said one day, she said, no stone unturned. We want the end result, which is, I mean, justice for what's happened to him.
Exactly. Yes, ma'am. And she will fiercely protect justice for Michael. Fiercely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Lana, as always, love having you up here, and you've been a
Same, Brooks.
great friend to the Vaughn family, and kept the word out there while taking it in the chin. I'll say it that way.
It's all good. You know, I'm not out here in the arena by myself. You know, I've got great support system. You know, there's a few in chat. Callie Diamond's one. Give her a shout out. She has taken
I've been
it
putting
on
her comments up.
as
She's
well.
awesome.
And you know, there's a lot of us that have linked arms, you know, and in support of this family and what's going on, and you know, justice for Michael and finding Michael is the only priority for us.
And you've got this platform here. Brandy knows it. You know it. So anything that you guys
Yeah,
need.
and I love your chat. I'm always in chat. I love everyone. I want to give you guys all a shout out, because, you know, I'm often just hanging out and chatting with you too on shows and drinking my coffee. And, you know, this is one of the best communities on YouTube, in my opinion.
The best. I'm telling you, hands down. I'm not just saying that because if they were all assholes, I wouldn't be here. I'd be like, I don't need this. I can be watching Ryan and Kelly right now.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Callie says, Lana, you rock. Yep. And so do all of you. I really, truly appreciate just how everyone has wrapped around this family and been so supportive and taken some shit. And that's okay. We're here for that. We like that, right? We're good.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm feisty. I can scrap. It's all good. I'm from Idaho. I know how to fight.
We got it. We're down. We're down.
I'm down.
All right. Thanks, Lana. I'll text you right after
Thanks,
this.
Brooks. Thanks, everyone.
Let's have a big round of applause for Lana for coming up and, you know, spending her morning with us, or part of her morning, talking about a very, very, very important subject. And that is the disappearance, the abduction of little Michael Vaughn. We're not going to stop covering this case. And it's hard to juggle. Not one case is more important than the other. And sometimes it's kind of hard, you know, where we're going to focus and how we're going to do it. That's another thing, is how we're going to do it, because we know how some people are not about the greater good of these cases, but we are, and we're friends. Even if we have different opinions and we have different theories, we agree to disagree. And at the end of the show, we walk away and we're still friends. We respect each other's opinion. And that's a very important thing. And it's an extremely rare thing. Don't think what we have here, not that we have any Truckee, California utopia, but what we do have here amongst each other is rare. And I love it. And I can't thank you guys enough for it. So I'm going to try to get another show together for later this afternoon. I know I said I was going to do it yesterday, and my day went to hell in a handbasket. Tulsa Hills and the post office weren't involved. It was just real life. But that's how it goes. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try. So on your way out, if you don't mind, please help me with YouTube because the algorithm doesn't really pay that much attention to me. So if you could, for all of us, hit the thumbs up. Make sure you're subbed. Make sure your reminders are on. And I'll see you in the next show, whether it's later this afternoon or tomorrow morning. And in the meantime, prayers up and justice for little Michael Vaughn. I'll see you guys.